let's see what's inside this thing. Oh man, look at that.
Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
what's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host Dustin, and today we are going to be checking out what might be the coolest fuzz pedal I have ever played. This was announced just about a week ago and suddenly popped up. I had no idea it was coming. Luckily, I was able to find a store that had one and snag it right at the last minute after it came out. But my friends over at Jam Pedals made a surprise announcement for a brand new limited edition pedal called the Octaurus, and this thing is an absolute beast. Now, I love Octave fuzz. It has always been a favorite of mine ever since I heard Hendrix play them years and years and years ago. I always thought that sound was really wild, but it can be really hard to tame and really hard to get the right kind of level of sound without it getting too hairy, too nasty. By using silicone transistors, Jam has done something absolutely amazing and allowed you to tame the beast in a way that is beautiful, musical, and just wow. But hey, let's actually hear the pedal. So join me over the pedal board. We're going to plug this thing in and let's mess around with some sounds and see what we can get out of it. All right, we're going to jump right into the GM Octaurus today. We're going to be using our Equitz Fuzz Rayburn because it's got this beautiful, clean, righteous sound pickup in there. So we'll use just a nice, clean sound as our bass, no other effects pedals on or anything. And then we're going to see what this Octaurus can do. So let's turn it on. And right away, the first thing you're going to notice is the second that I turn this on, you're not hearing any extra buzz, any extra sounds, anything like that. It's not overwhelming until you get the gain really up there. Right now, we've got the gain all the way down. Yeah, it's pretty simple controls. You've got a level to control, which controls the volume on it. So all the way up, all the way down, right toward the bottom. You can really get a nice dB drop there. I like to run it right in here. But now notice when I palm mute, very, very little gain noise in the background. That is part of what makes this fuzz so absolutely amazing, is it really does a great job of keeping the noise floor down on the pedal itself. But you could hear how gnarly that fuzz was, but it takes chords. This is something that a lot of fuzz pedals do not do well. And that's the first thing I wanted to show you about this. Usually when you're playing a fuzz, when you start to play chords or multiple strings at the same time, you get this flubby, nasty sound. So most people are going to play a fuzz like this. But watch. Those chords don't flub out on you. They actually sound really good and meld together really well. That was the first thing that caught my eye on this pedal that just really, really impressed me. And that's before we've introduced any gain, any extra tone, any of these switches, anything. So that's amazing. But now let's get into the actual sounds itself. I'm going to leave the level right here. I'm going to turn the tone all the way down. We're not going to mess with the switches right away. I'm just going to turn the tone all the way down, let you hear what that sounds like. Let's turn it up about 9 o'clock. A little higher up, around 1 o'clock. You can hear you're introducing a little bit more brightness to it, but you're also giving those little back ends of the note a little bit more grit. Let's bring it all the way up to about 3 o'clock. And then all the way. Back to about noon.
So here, the more tone we introduce, the more brightness we get in there. Now, this can be really, really subtle. It's not a major difference. You're not inherently changing the sound of the fuzz itself. This is not one of those fuzzes that's going to have a bazillion different sounds. It's really a one sort of sound fuzz that you can tweak to cut through a mix and find the right blend of that fuzz in your song itself. So I typically, so far in my practices, have been running the tone right around there. Because when you get up a little higher, when we're doing a little vibrato, it can get a little fuzzier. So I like to give it just a little bit more up here and kind of sit in that realm. But here's what I want you to hear. So this is what it sounds like with my volume and my tone on my pedal fully up, right? I'm gonna roll my tone all the way back. I'll roll my tone up. Roll my tone back. First thing you'll notice when I roll my tone all the way back, you really start to gel those notes together into some really, really strong chords. So when you're using this pedal to get yourself like a power chords, or you're trying to do like a little bit more rocky sound to it, I really like rolling the tone knob back on my guitar a little bit to get those notes to meld together and take that harsh edge off of the front end. And you can still leave the tone up on the pedal a little bit so it's still clear and bright without being too gritty and too fuzzy on the back end. Let's see how it reacts to the volume knob. I'm gonna turn my tone back up. Now I'm gonna do all the way down. If I roll my tone down as well, it really does react to the volume knob, but it doesn't clean up. There is no clean sound coming out of this pedal. That's not what this is meant for. This is meant to give you grit and dirt and grime. Speaking of that, we haven't really messed with the gain knob. So let's take the gain knob and let's bring that up now. I'm gonna bring it up to about 9 o'clock. I'm gonna leave my level and my tone here. I'm gonna keep my volume and my tone on my guitar fully up. Bring it up to about noon. Give you a little chord. Let's bring it all the way up to about 3. And now let's max all the way out. That gain up, you can sustain a note forever. It is just absolutely insane. It's gnarly, it's fuzzy, it's gritty. It's just got this power to it that I absolutely love. And that octave in there plays so well with the initial note that you're playing. It just blends in and creates this wild, fuzz righteous tone. Like I've played a lot of Octaviums in the past that are good, but the octave always felt like it was separate from the note. This doesn't. This feels like it's meshing your initial note. Even with that gain all the way up. And when I roll the volume back on my guitar, let's bring it back almost all the way. You can hear it doesn't clean the pedal up, but it does bring it back from that gritty, rocky edge and smooths it out just a little bit. Same thing, I'm gonna leave my volume down a little bit and I'm gonna roll my tone all the way off. Now, instantaneously, you heard how that cleaned up the signal. Now Now I've got my volume barely on and my tone all the way off. So I want you to hear with the gain up quite a bit what that's going to give you. This is about the cleanest you're going to get this. Kind of a horn sound, a little bit of honk to it, a little bit of grit there. But if we roll our volume to about midway, you can hear it gives a little bit of that edge back. And if we bring our tone about midway and our volume, you get a lot more definition in those notes, but you also get a little bit more of a noise floor raise in there. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk a little bit about these switches. I'm going to turn my volume and my tone back up. I'm going to bring the gain down a little bit. You have two different switch modes on here. The left side is actually a scoop, so you can scoop the mids on the signal a little bit. Right now, it's down, and that is for full voice. So you're hearing every note I play. And now I'm going to flip this up. Back down. So you can hear the difference there. When I have the full voicing on there, you're getting that full mix. You're getting that hit of the heavy mids, and the treble is kind of getting lost in that mix. By scooping those mids, you're bringing the treble side up and you're emphasizing the bass and the treble, bringing those mids down just a little bit so it sounds a little bit richer and a little less high-end heavy. So there's beauty in both of those. There are times that I don't want my mids scooped. I want the full signal range to really shine through, especially, let's do it in this situation. Sometimes when you're doing a little solo run like that, you could hear how that almost gave it a little bit extra boost. It can just change that EQ curve just a little bit to give you something a little different. So if it's not quite sounding right in the mix, flip that switch a little bit, see what you get. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I like to play with it both ways and just see where you're at. Now the other switch, this is really cool. This is asymmetrical and symmetrical clipping. This is how those diodes react with each other. Now, this is subtle, but what this does, I love asymmetrical clipping. I'm gonna let you hear this. I'm gonna play a few chords and just see if you can catch what's happening. Did you hear that? Hear how when you go to asymmetrical mode, it opens up the notes and really almost creates a bloom effect. It allows, especially as you're sustaining a note, do the same thing. That little bit of extra air in there, that little bit of extra ring that happens, it's very subtle. It's not a major difference in there, but I love, love, love asymmetrical clipping, especially with chords. Whenever you play chords with asymmetrical clipping on a fuzz, and especially if it's a fuzz like this that's really tight, it allows those bass notes and whatever your initial pick attack is hitting, gives it just a little extra girth and a little extra nail in there so that it stands out in a mix and really shines. That is the beauty of asymmetrical clipping. So if I was going to set this up for an everyday board and use it, what I would run is I'd run asymmetrical clipping. I wouldn't scoop the mids. I would leave it down for the most part. I keep my tone about here and I'd run my gain down just where you're hearing just a little bit in there, and you get a sound like this. To me, that has a real Jack White sound to it, so that if you want to do some power chords and a little bit of a rock kind of ballad feel to it. See how you get that extra sustain on there, but all those notes ring true together and feel like a real solid chord coming right through you. And even when you go to single notes, you still get a lot of definition in the note. I just love that sound. I think that is such a really, really cool sound. Okay, now that we've got it dialed in, let's leave those settings alone, and then I'm gonna turn on a little bit of a delay pedal here. I'll use the Von Gone polyphrase delay, and we'll just play a little lead line so you can kind of hear what this sounds like with a lot going on in the background. It's amazing how these just stand out and sound absolutely beautiful. Listen to that. As I vibrate my fingers, it just sings, it holds that note, it just sounds so cool. Everything about that as a lead punch through and just emphasize those notes. Like I said before, this is the first octave fuzz that I've really felt melds the octave and the main note together, and it just allows you to create these beautiful singing sustains that I have never, ever, ever, ever seen. Let's roll the tone back and the volume back just a little bit and see what we get out of that. Hear that? That cleaned it up a little bit. Still has that gnarly punch, but it's a little less gritty off the edge. I didn't adjust the pedal at all. I'm just bringing the volume and tone back. We're going to turn the tone all the way off on my guitar. I'm going to roll the volume way back. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that takes a lot of the edge off if we bring the tone back up just a little. Hear that, the harshness comes back. And then all the way back to full.
Okay, enough messing around. I hope that captured the sound in the room that I'm hearing. I'm absolutely blown away by this. The musicality for an octave fuzz, and to give you such depth, such clarity, and allow you to really control your sound, especially those lead lines. Just wow, mind blowing how good that sounds in a mix. Um, I'm stunned by it. I really do think GM has nailed this. I wish this wasn't a limited edition pedal, because I know they usually make quite a bit of their limited edition stuff, but I know they'll go fast. But I'm sure getting those transistors and stuff to make it sound this way, and getting the testing to work is a pain in the rear. But wow, I would highly recommend reach out to your local dealers that carry them. I know Palen is a Jam Pedals dealer. I know the first wave of these sold out, but Jam did make an announcement on their website saying that there will be more coming. So reach out to Palen, reach out to your local Jam dealer, find some way to get one of these, because I'm telling you, if you love fuzz, I don't think you're going to be disappointed by this. I'm so amazed. Now, it's not for everybody. Like I said before, this is not a tameable fuzz pedal. This is not that traditional fuzz face classic sound that you can roll back and get a nice clean tone out of. You're not going to get this out of that. This does its thing, and it does it well, but you need to be into that whole octave fuzz thing for it to float your boat. But I really do think anybody who's into that or even curious about that, I do not think this pedal will let you down. It's got my full seal of approval. So, well, as always, thank you to my friends at Palen for hosting us. I'm so glad to come out today and share this with you. Please go check out their website down below. Like I said, if you're interested in this, drop Kyle over there a line, let him know so he can get your name on a list. So when they get the next round of these out, they can get you one pre-ordered. I'm sure he'd love to do that for you. And make sure to just go check out their site. They're such a great company to work with. I absolutely love them. And if you get a chance, hop over to Instagram, visit me over there at What's This Button Do Dustin. I'll be posting little videos of stuff like this, some fun projects, some new Fidelity guitars that are coming soon, and all sorts of fun things around Christmas time. I'm going to take a little time off from my day job and really try to hammer out some content. So please give me a follow over there. Check it out. I'm sure there'll be lots of fun experiments going on. And next week, I hope you'll join us. I know next week is Christmas, so if some of you don't make it, no problem at all. I'm going to be doing a little holiday wrap up, talking about some things that came out this year, and giving you a little sneak preview of what's to come next year. So if you get some time, I'd love to see you next week. Please join us back then again. Thank you so much for taking your time to come out today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be glad to help out, or reach out to my email that's in the description. I'll be glad to help you any way that I can. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon. Take care.